Lockdown was tough, right? But at least being at home all the time meant you could try a few new things like working on your project car or baking some sourdough bread. My wife and I, we had a different sort of bun in the oven, and in October we welcomed our first child into the world. But with a newborn comes new responsibilities. Chief among them, what sort of car is going to be suitable to ferry your most precious of cargo? Well, let me introduce you to this, the 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLB, which I've been living with for 3 months to see if it can be the go-to do-it-all family SUV. But before we begin, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification icon to stay on top of all our latest content. And while you're down there, you'll find the link to the full 3-month in-depth report in the description below, or simply head to carsguide.com.au. Now, I've broken this video up into the 3 big things I like about the GLB250 and the 3 things I think Mercedes can do better. So feel free to use the time codes found on the screen now to jump ahead at any time. If you know your ABCs, it's not that hard to work out that the GLB slots in between the GLA and the GLC in Mercedes' SUV lineup. But did you know that this car has one party trick that neither of those or many of its other competitors can match? In the back here, you'll find a 3rd row of seats, which according to Mercedes will accommodate passengers up to 168 centimeters. Now, my 6-foot tall frame can get back here, though only just, and there's very limited leg and headroom. It's not that Spartan back here though. You'll find 2 USB ports, an elastic strap for your tablets, and 2 cup holders.
But if you don't have a literal gaggle of children to cart around, seats 6 and 7 will fold away as easy as that, leaving you with a cavernous space to lug groceries, gear, and anything else. In my time with the car, I used the boot mainly to transport a full-sized pram and bassinet, crucial for new families, and loved that it's wide enough for both parts to sit side by side.
With other SUVs of this size, the boot is often not wide enough or deep enough to fit a pram in this way. You have to stack one item on top of the other, which makes it a bit tricky after a trip to pull out and set up, especially when you're juggling a baby.
For reference, you might not get that much into the boot with the seats up, but once they are folded flat, the GLB will swallow up to 565 litres, around 15 litres more than the GLC. And the useful space doesn't stop there.
Here we have a full-sized rear-facing child seat installed in the 2nd row, and it leaves plenty of room up front for a full-sized adult.
The 2nd row is roomy and spacious, at least in the 2 outboard seats, with air vents, storage nets, generous door bins, and a fold-down armrest with cup holders. And it's the same story in the front seats too, with plenty of storage options like big door bins, a deep centre storage area, cup holders, and a wireless smartphone charger.
While we're up here, let's talk tech, because the GLB is absolutely stuffed with it. And key to all of it is this, the Mercedes-Benz User Experience, or MBUX, which is laid out on a 10.25-inch screen. Functions include satellite navigation, digital radio, and smartphone mirroring, but you can also download a companion app on your phone to keep tabs on this car from anywhere. And I know, it sounds a little bit naff, and it's something that Mercedes-Benz has added to the features list just to tick another box. But if you actually take the time to set it up, it can be really useful.
For example, you can send satellite navigation destinations from your phone to your car, meaning you can just get in and go and not fiddle around with that multimedia system, crucial if you have a newborn baby sitting in the back. You can also lock and unlock doors remotely, as well as starting the engine from your phone, which could be good for getting the AC to kick on and cool the car down before a nice long trip.
The multimedia system is complemented by another 10.25-inch screen here, which shows all your instrumentation and driving data and can be switched up on the fly. Now, I know it can be a little bit daunting to have all these screens facing you, but at least Mercedes gives you the option of how to interact with the systems. There's the touchscreen here, there's a large touchpad down here, these little control nubs on the steering wheel, but our favourite way is through voice. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Take me to Williamstown Beach.
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go? Let's go.
Take my word for it. If you're after a family car, you need it to be safe. And it's here where the GLB has its base well and truly covered. When it was crash tested in 2019, ANCAP awarded the Mercedes-Benz GLB a maximum 5-star rating, with particularly high scores for the adults and child occupant protection tests. And while it's all well and good to know that in the event of a crash, this car will keep its occupants safe, it's even better to know that thanks to the advanced safety features, this car will do its best to prevent that from ever happening.
Up front, there is an autonomous emergency braking system that will warn you to brake if it detects an imminent collision. There is also blind spot monitoring and lane departure warning to keep your flanks safe, while the adaptive cruise control can adjust your speed to match vehicles in front of you.
Our favourite feature though has to be the traffic sign recognition, which clues you in on all the varying speed zone changes found in Melbourne's inner city.
7 airbags are also littered throughout the cabin, with side curtain airbags that extend all the way to the 3rd row. All in all, the GLB gets a big thumbs up for safety.
Powering this GLB250 is a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine, outputting 165 kilowatts and 350 newton meters. Paired to this engine is an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, which sends drive to all 4 corners via Mercedes' 4Matic Plus all-wheel drive system. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like this engine. It's peppy and punchy, and it gets you away from the line real quick. But with great power comes a great fuel bill.
After 3 months, the average consumption settled to 11.8 litres per 100 kilometres, which is around 50% more than the official figure.
Of course, there's a few things that will affect the car's fuel economy figure, and in my time with the car, it was always loaded with baby paraphernalia and passengers. My heavy right foot certainly didn't help things in this regard either, but with a 0 to 100 km/h acceleration time of just 6.9 seconds, it can be real fun to punch it from the lights, and it makes overtaking an absolute breeze.
Key to being comfortable inside a car, especially in Australia, is heat management. And it is here where the GLB could do a little better. This is thanks to the standard glass roof, which can be covered by this thin fabric shade. But in an Australian summer, I found it doesn't really work as well as a traditional roof. This means that interior temperatures often exceeded 40 degrees when parked on a sunny afternoon outside, making the cabin unsuitable for a newborn.
My workaround? Use that Mercedes Me app to start the car ahead of time and let that ice-cold AC do its thing.
The rear privacy glass is just okay at keeping out the sun, meaning I had to employ an extra shade to keep glare off my little one's face.
And while neither of these things are a deal breaker, if you plan on using your GLB as a family hauler, you should still probably keep them in mind. The packaging of the GLB might be excellent, but there is one noticeable omission that could keep it off the shopping list for some buyers, and that's that it doesn't have a spare wheel. With its small hatchback underpinnings and 7-seat layout, there simply isn't any room for Mercedes-Benz to include a spare wheel. However, there is a tyre repair kit for small punctures. Now, this isn't going to be a concern for everyone, but if you like to take a long road trip to some remote destinations around the country, it is something to be mindful of. In my 3 months with the car though, I never needed a spare wheel or the tyre repair kit, but it's simply a case of you won't need it until you do. So, should families consider buying a GLB? In a word, yes. This car offers punchy performance, is protective of its passengers, and is pleasingly practical. And in 2021, this GLB250 will set you back just under $75,000, which is no doubt a big outlay for some families, but that premium badge does help soften the blow. Its flexible 7-seat layout is also a huge plus, and the GLB is one of the only premium mid-size SUVs that will grow with your family. For a detailed breakdown of our 3-month report, you can head to carsguide.com.au. And if you don't think this car is right for you, we've reviewed hundreds of others for you to check out.